Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Four Elements United. Tonight, I'm your host, and I am Water.
I'm Win.
Earth.
And I'm fire.
All right. And we have a great show tonight. However, guys, we're late. So we want to go ahead and address that right quick so we can get that out the way. Or no? We're going.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something. Yeah,
Uh-uh.
I'm late. Definitely.
All right. Yeah, we're doing the show on a different night. And, all four of us are busy guys. We have busy schedules. And, stuff happens, everyone. So for those of you who have it in your hearts and you're human as well, just know that four people are trying to coordinate schedules. And sometimes people don't get it on their schedules. So we appreciate everybody who actually can forgive us. And for those who can't forgive us, we miss you already. All right. So let's move on. So tonight's show is an interesting one because it's going to be about intimate relationships. Okay. So a lot of our following, a lot of that consists of women. Some kind of way Wynn thinks that, men listen to us, but if men do listen to us, they never say anything. They just sit back and say nothing. However, every time I look in the comments, I see probably 9-to-1 ratio of women to men commenting. So I chose a show topic that can speak to the majority of our engaged audience. Let's call it that, engaged audience. So with that being said, we're going to talk about intimate relationships. We had a show, maybe a month or two ago about questions that women wanted to ask men, but never did. And now tonight, we're going to talk about what an intimate relationship looks like to men. So I got some ground rules, guys. First off, no soliloquies. Okay. This is going to be rapid pace. I know that we're not going to name any names, but some of us, we like to go on and on and on and on and on. And so I want to make sure that doesn't happen so we can stay engaged, because I have a feeling that the comments are going to be firing left and right. So I want to make sure that we can actually stay engaged with the audience as opposed to being cerebral with ourselves. But at the same time, we do want to speak from our true selves. And if you have a truth that you want to speak, hey man, go ahead and speak it. So with that being said, let's just start out. Intimate relationship. I'm going to go around the horn. Whoever wants to answer first. Why do you actually get into an intimate relationship? Fire, you on mute. All right.
Well, man, look at the guy sitting back, like really like processing this question. Like, why would I do that? I guess let me speak from my, I always speak from my personal vantage point. Wow, when I think back, I got to go all the way back to my childhood where this idea or concept of marriage got created, because I really didn't see it in my house. Probably the first model for a nuclear family was the Cosbys that I can remember. So 4, 5, 6 years old, however old that was, that became my ideal family structure at a young age. And so long before kids were a thought in my thought stream, I always knew I would be a custodial father. Even before that, I always knew that I would be a husband. So I always casted myself in the light of a husband in my latter years. So I think, to answer that question, Lou, minus soliloquistic speaking, is that's what I saw, and that's what I knew. So that's what I thought was right. That's what I felt was right. Initially, I'm going all the way back to where this concept got created, and that's where it got created. It's got to be the Cosbys.
I like it.
Hmm.
Earth.
Oh, I'm not. I'm so disconnected. I don't. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, detached, right? Not attached.
Yeah, so detached. No, it's just for oneness. Because when I heard the title, intimate relationship, to me, I just looked at the scope of like all of my relationships are pretty much intimate. Like, I have an intimate relationship with you guys. We know things about each other that other people have no clue about. And being in an intimate relationship brings about a sense of security. You're very safe in those relationships because those relationships, they feed me in the same way that I feed them. So for me, it's the oneness.
Nice. Wind.
I just got to say it simple and plain. Black women are phenomenal. And I know for certain without black women, I'm a mess. You know what I mean? By myself. So I love great black women. Simple and plain.
Nice. Yeah, and I think that all three of these guys gave a good answer. And just if I can put my little answer in there as well, I would say for me, it's all about Earth. For the rest of the show, if we can just talk about, we can speak to the when you're in a one-on-one, whatever you want to call it, partnership, girlfriend, you were married, whatever you want to call it. We're going to talk about those. It's all good. It's all. I heard you because I like your answer. I like your answer. But I want to make sure that we specifically target that. And if you want to, if you sprinkle that in there, that's cool too. But I want to make sure that you speak to that aspect as well, because I know a lot of the audience, they will be, they're gonna want to hear that. But getting back to my answer, I would say for me, it's about an energy. I agree that we, as the elements, we have an intimate relationship because we talk about stuff that, God, we get in there. We talk about some stuff. And at the same time, there's a feminine, there's an opposite kind of energy that I don't have myself, that I feel when I'm in an intimate relationship. And for me, typically, that's what I'm looking for when I get into that relationship. So to me, it's all about an energy and an energetic connection that just, I don't know. But I can't even describe it. But that's, if I did describe it, that's how I would describe it, is a feminine energy that I really, really enjoy when I get into a relationship. And that's why I'm seeking it out. And that's why I actually enter into an intimate relationship, because that's what I'm seeking. Now, guys, we want to give the ladies who listen to this show religiously, in the context of that particular relationship, give me one thing. As a matter of fact, let's go around the horn first. One word for what you actually want from your lady. One word.
Oh, I'll go. Patience.
Growth.
Patience. Growth. Wind.
Collaboration.
I would say for me is peace. So now let's go back around the horn, guys. Elaborate on your answer.
Well, for me, my life is extremely, extremely, extremely busy. And if I'm dating someone and she doesn't have patience, she actually becomes a distraction. I mean, that's just the reality of it. And I'm not in favor of anybody being a distraction at all. So if it gets to that point, I have a conversation about it. and I'll be upfront and say, you're becoming a distraction, blah, 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 however that conversation goes, and see if we can work it out. And if we can't work it out, we just can't work it out. Life is that easy, but just primarily like my lifestyle requires, any woman in my life to have a tremendous amount of patience. Just does, because I can start at 7 a.m. and don't get done until midnight, and that's not something that I really have a whole lot of say so around. So, that's why.
For me, I say growth because I think, and I've said this before, like I feel like I don't have any access to my being the highest version of myself outside of the context of marriage for me. And so what my wife represents in the feminine form is my equal and my opposite. And she's also a mirror. And so, she sees things that I don't see. And I got a big ego. And as a single man left to my own devices, my stuff can smell like boo-boo, and I can convince myself it smells like potpourri. But when you're in a relationship with a real one, an intimate relationship with a real one, they're not gonna hold any punches. And for me, I'm not afraid of that. I'm not afraid of constructive feedback or criticism or falling short or failure to achieve a result or an ideal circumstance. But there's growth. That's the first word that popped in my mind, man. Like there's no way I'd be the man that I am today if I had not been married for the last, I've been with Courtney for 21 years, but married for the last 18 going on 19. So growth.
Nice.
And
When?
for me, you can't have a solid family structure and be progressive if you don't have someone that has a collaborative spirit, right? There's so much foolishness going out in the world right now where everybody's being individual and pointing the fingers, you did this, you did that, and you ain't this and you ain't that. But for me, I have to have somebody that understands the journey, understands the mission, and is willing to collaborate for that common cause.
Yeah. Cedric Jones in the comments fire agrees with you. He's a growth. He says that growth is his thing as well.
It's my brother.
Yeah. These are some great answers. I like and ladies, if questions come up, go ahead and ask in the comments. We'll field the questions that are coming up in the comments as well, if they come up.
So, you know what? Just let me say something real quick. Our patience is something, honestly, I just made that up. Because the way that like my life is governed, I don't concern myself with that. Because when I meet, regardless of who I meet, I have to send that woman's name to my elders. And then they will divine and see what our spiritual compatibility is, because that's the most important piece. If we're not compatible, if our stars are not compatible, then this is impossible for me to provide for her what her needs are, her to provide for me what my needs are, period. So I just said patience because we're speaking from a modernity perspective. And I just said, okay, yeah, I'd work a lot, so patience would be something good. But for me, I can't, a one word answer just would not suffice just because of how I live my life. So my answers to all of these are probably going to be way different than you guys. Possibly, I'm making that part up. Who knows? But it'll probably be different because the way that I go into relationships is probably different than the majority of the people, in the Western Hemisphere. And I just made that up. I could be wrong. However, it's different. So my life, it's different. So these questions, this whole topic may not apply in the way that it may. My answers may be a little different. They will come from a different perspective. I just want to put that out there. So because I want to be able to speak to this topic authentically, I want to be able to do that.
And that's what makes the 4 elements so beautiful, bro. We all come from a different angle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think that if all 4 of us were in agreement on everything, then it probably wouldn't make for a good dynamic. So it's a good thing that we do all have something different to say. And for me, I think peace is a big thing for me because I'm really competitive. So I really thrive in the business world because I am competitive, right? Like if I see something that I want to go after, I make it into a game. And when I make it into a game, it becomes a competition. And then it becomes me versus them, me versus you, me versus us versus them. It becomes that. So, and unfortunately, that leads me to working a lot. And when I come home or when I am, looking to relax, I would like to be around someone who actually is ready to do that. And if there's the air of competition in my intimate relationship, then that doesn't bode very well for me because that begins to make it feel like the way everything is in everyday life. So I try to, so for me, then it just becomes like, oh, okay, well, it's a competition. And then, like I just take it way, in a place that it shouldn't go as opposed to, just being in an intimate relationship with a woman where she can actually help me get grounded because I need to be able to unplug from all that stuff. And if I just keep let's go, then there's a certain attitude that comes along with that. There's a certain way of being actually that comes along with that. And kind of like what you guys, I think, are alluding to, for me, it's great to pick up on an energy where that way of being just melts away. So that's what I have for that particular answer. So then here's an interesting one for you guys. This one might be a little dicey. There's a quote that goes a little something like this. Love is cursed by monogamy. What do you guys think about that? Love is cursed by monogamy. What do you guys think about that?
Is it cursed by monogamy?
That's a funny quote. From my perspective, it's just one person's mindset. Everybody's different. A lot of people would agree with that.
I mean, that's definitely obvious, right? Well, that's obvious as well. So the actual final question was, what do you think about that? So that's what I'm trying to get to, guys. And this is to help. Yeah, that was Kanye. Good job, Danny. Danny knows what time it is. Yeah, love is cursed by monogamy. So, look, if you don't want to answer from us of what you think, it's okay. But let's not pontificate about what philosophical stuff. Fire, you and Earth look like y'all are ready. Whichever one, shoot. Go ahead. One of y'all are ready.
I respect my elders. Go ahead, big brother.
So when I think about it and I put it into my context, I would have to say yes, it does. Definitely. Because it will cut off someone's expression. And so I say that because I will sit with men or women and I'll divine for them, and it'll be clear to me that this man is literally supposed to be with multiple women. Is clear as day. And it's not about, the sex. It's not about that. It's not about having your cake and eating it too. It is all about when I look down that person's bloodline and I see who that person's bloodline, like the root of their bloodline, where they come from, who that person is. It is clear as day. And when I speak to them in a certain way, I don't say, "Oh, you need to be with two women." I'll speak to them in a certain way that resonates, and there has not been one guy who has not agreed. Period. And I'll sit and divine for women, and I see women who are supposed to be a second wife or a third wife. It is as clear as day, period. And when I speak to these women, and if I tell them that, I'll give them some things that actually happen in their lives. They always find themselves in a position as side chick, and generally they may have something going on with it initially, but they settle in because that is who they are. We said monogamy says that you are supposed to be blah. One man, one woman. That is not how human beings are created. Some are created that way. There's absolutely no doubt about that. I do divine for men who, as clear as day, and I don't bring it up. I just know these dudes, they are committed in a monogamous way. And I see some women, oh, you are supposed to be the first wife, period, because she's the boss or whatever. So she's going to be that. And it's clear as day. And some women I see, oh, you are only to be with one man. It is clear. But we have this sort of domesticated view of relationships, period. So that's my answer to that.
Ooh, buddy. Lou, good question, bro. Good question.
Hey, so hold on. Time out. Fire. On the show, I'm referred to as Water. You've done that twice, so let me go ahead and help you out. Just so you know, I don't need to remain anonymous. It's just kind of like a protocol that we've. I think Wynn said it best. Wynn said that there's a certain code of ethics. Fire. There's a code of ethics.
yo, almost jumped out of my skin. That call was hilarious. Insider. I'm sorry, Water. My goodness, Anyway, I digress. You stupid. I go back to repeat the quote again. Quote again, Water.
Love is cursed by monogamy.
Yeah, right. So I go back to my youth, and I wanna share authentically my mindset and how I had it, right, and what I observed in myself. Right. So as a young man, as a shorty, when I was a shorty, I
As a shorty, yeah.
I had no idea that my pops, sorry pops, old heads in the community, what they modeled for me was plurality, and you wasn't a man or the man if you didn't have a harem of young ladies that was in your stable. And so I came up with that mentality. And the first thing that drove that appetite was like trying to be the man. The second thing that drove that appetite was it just felt good, you know. Being adored felt good. Ego, having multiple felt good. When I came to realize about 12 years ago that there was an incident that happened when I was 5 years old that was underneath all of those things that was driving me to prove to myself that I was a man and this is how I was doing it, right? And I come to learn that though I have biology, I'm with Earth 1,000%. I'm not gonna sit here on YouTube or any platform and act like my nature is monogamous. My nature is not monogamy. It's not naturally. However, I had to learn and master my biology and understand that I can choose monogamy powerfully. And so I just did, you know. So I just did. There is no suffering in that because I chose it. Does it go against my nature? Probably. But I don't have this getting complete with what transpired at 5, getting complete with what my pops and the OGs modeled for me, and having those conversations, getting complete with myself, getting complete with my wife, really freed me to stand inside of my monogamy and be perfectly okay with it. So that's how I answer that question. Is it, you know, maybe to some people, all depends on where you are. The quote, that is. The quote is true for some people. It just all depends on where you are. Wind?
For me, as it stands right now, I mean, I don't feel cursed about that. However, I think that you can love so many people. Like for me, I don't believe that there's one person out there in the world for just one person. Like, I think that you can love a multitude of people. Like you said, Fire, you could powerfully choose monogamy or not. And I don't just taking that phrase or that quote by itself, that love is cursed by monogamy. No, I don't think that love itself is cursed by monogamy. Now, the conversation of monogamy and whether it's appropriate or not, that's a different conversation. And I'm complete about that.
Cool. So I want to add one thing. So I want to make a quick distinction. So there's a distinction between a guy who's just out, stacking up body counts, and a guy who sees a woman and says, I want her as my wife, not as anything else. That desire or that drive is there. That's the natural drive. This body count thing, that's something else. Entirely different. His drive is whatever the drive is, whatever the motivation is behind it. So there's a distinction between it's two different types of guys in that. Okay.
Yeah, I was never that guy. Not even in my youth was I that guy that you described. I would classify myself, if I had to put myself in the bucket, as a demisexual. So I was the worst kind of player. And the reason why I say that is because even having conversations with adults nowadays, like talking to women seem to have more respect for the guy who is a player on the basis of his loins and his conquest. Somebody who isn't trying to make people fall in love with him, somebody who's not leading women on, somebody who just is in it for the transaction. They actually, like, I can respect that. The type of dude that I was, bro, it wasn't just as you described. It was like I wanted each and every one of them to love me unconditionally. I wanted each and every one of them to be faithful to me. I wanted each and every one of them to adore and worship me. It was that kind of movements. So great distinction, because I think as the listener, as the elementals are hearing what we're saying with regards to that, I don't want them to get one picture, like just some smash and dash dude, irresponsible. There are men out there who have a husband's heart that looks at taking care of these women in mind, body, spirit. Probably better than some of you dudes just taking care of one girl, you know, if we're keeping it a buck. So thank you for making that distinction.
Cool.
Yeah, it's interesting. So, gosh, we had a show. Do you guys remember Empress T?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Does that name ring a bell?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, cool. So back in the day, everyone, put a little context to it. We had not a video podcast. So it ended maybe 5 years ago. So this was way back before podcasting became popular. But we had a guest once who she herself was a polygamist, and she said something that really opened my eyes to the whole game of polygamy. And she said that, listen, men, it's not, when you are a polygamist, it's not that you are the smash and dash guy that Fire was just describing it, and the body count guy. It was the same thing that Earth was describing. She was like, that's not what it is. She was like, what Fire just described, of you're basically the husband figure for multiple women. So you have to, and then you're living with them together, and you have to, when they have issues, you have to sort it out. And I was like, oh my God, there's no way. I'm like, whoa, dude, doing that for one woman is enough. Can you imagine doing that multiple? So I thought that was interesting when you guys were talking about that. And at the same time, I do think that it is cursed. I think love is cursed by monogamy. However, you know, I don't know what the solution is either. Like, I don't know what the solution is, because the smash and dash guy is not the solution. Being someone who dies alone is not the solution. So what do you guys think the solution is? I hear people unmuting their mics. Some opinions are forming here. What do you guys think the solution is?
It's all about fit, man. You know, I think people have to be true to themselves first and foremost. And then you have to be in integrity with yourself, because how do I say this? I've seen guys get greedy. I've heard guys say, and yes, I've called them to the floor. I've heard guys say, I want to do X with as many women as possible. And then we enter into this consciousness conversation about how that can occur, how that will land for them, and what's your hook, what's your elevator speech to get this done? Like, what do you say? What are you selling them? And I've had brothers, associates, talk about doing whatever it takes to get them in the sack. That to Water's point, like that's not it. It's not what we're talking about. When I talk about fit, there is a smash and dash match for the smash and dash girl or woman, in the smash and dash match for the smash and dash guy. There is a I'm not saying it's one for one. I'm just saying that they're out there. What happens is we don't tell the truth to ourselves. And two, we operate from a place of fear or scarcity or lack. And then we start making compromises on our own integrity to secure the thing that we said we wanted, because we don't believe we can get it, being 100% authentic. And so to go back to your question, Water, what's the solution? The solution is self-awareness and authenticity. And then making sure listen, I have a type. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I value. This is what I want. You either meet this criteria or you don't. I don't then try to make you fit into my square, because I ain't got none in a couple months. You know, some sisters will make compromises because they've been single for 2, 3, 5, 7 years. Brothers that start acting like they want to get married have got zero interest in getting married, because it's been a couple months. It's been hard. It's been hard knock life. You tried your baby mama, that was a no. Tried your ex-girlfriend from high school, that was a no. You slid in your college girlfriend's DMs talk about, hey, big head, she's engaged now, that was a no. You know what I'm saying? So that's, be authentic and find your match, and only deal with people who's on the same wavelength as you. There's plenty out there. At least that's my opinion. That's what I think. I just made that up, or I don't know if there's plenty out there. I just think there is. And I'm
Yes,
complete.
plenty of a lot of things out there. Certainly. You know, I totally agree with Therese. I agree with her.
Therese.
Therese. Okay, Therese. My bad, Therese. Getting to your purpose first, knowing what that is, gives you access to everything.
Okay, hold on, time out. Let's just read that for people who are listening to audio only. Fire, you want to read that out?
So Therese says, coming from Facebook, she says, I think the solution is to first seek purpose. That is the primary reason you're on the planet. Then align with partners or partner who aligns with your life's purpose. That is, yeah, I mean, don't get no better than that, ultimately.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. You know, because if you have seek your purpose and you know what it is, everything else literally falls into place. You'll know that this is not going to work. This is not going to work. This is not going to work. You just kind of know that. And so for me, like, yeah, seeking a purpose first, and always have a divination before you even, you know, get too serious or whatever you're going to do. So you'll know whether or not this is a person who's a match for who you are, meaning she's a match for your nature. You're a match for her nature. You know, from a purpose perspective, she can hold your medicine and ground you, and you can do the same for her. When you have those things in place, makes things a lot easier. There's no guarantee because we have free will. We can do whatever we want to do. Get up in the morning, it's like, I think I'm gonna move out and go up on this bridge and hang out for the next 10 years. We could choose that whenever we want to. So it doesn't bring about any guarantees. However, it actually creates the pathway for success is what it does. So, yeah.
If monogamy is not the answer for you, I mean, the only other thing to do is to be with multiple women, right? I mean, it's really simple. I mean, if you know that you can't accept just one person, be honest with yourself and get with multiple women. I mean, it's really as simple as that. It is. The only question is the women that you want, whether or not they would be cooperative in that realm. And if they're not, then you just have to pick somebody else and move on. I mean, it's really about what you want, what you desire, what makes you happy, what makes you satisfied and fulfilled. And if it doesn't, if something doesn't make you satisfied and fulfilled, then just don't do it. I mean, we're all adults now, and we have to understand that we can't play games, and we need to be honest with ourselves to get what we want. So just go for it. I'm finished.
All right, good. So that was that. Okay, guys. So shifting gears here. Either or. Okay, if you had to choose, don't give me some answer like, I mean, everybody wants both or whatever. But we're gonna say either or. If you had to choose one, and don't say it doesn't apply. Just answer one or the other, because we're doing this to help women understand men. So which would you rather have? Not like neither of them apply or whatever. Would you rather be in a relationship with a woman who encourages your ambitions, or would you rather be in a relationship with a woman who maintains her own independence?
That's easy for me. I'll just go first. It would be the former, that encourages.
So okay, go ahead. I'm gonna come back to that. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with Wind on that one. Definitely.
All right, fire.
Lord have mercy, it's a tough one. I'm gonna say encourages my ambitions, or is it's the first one. It's encouraging. It's close. And if I have time to elaborate,
Okay. All right.
yeah,
You don't. All right, cool. You don't, because I'm gonna come back to all three of you and ask you. So, in the same case, right? If she was very needy, okay, right? So she had no life. And listen, women, this is not saying that women are like this. This is getting answers out of these guys. So if you got that going on from what I'm saying, I can't help you. But I'm asking you guys. So she was very needy, and she was always like, as a matter of fact, if her lack of independence didn't allow you to have your independence, right? Like Earth, we couldn't have gone on the trip. You'd have been like, I can't. There's no way I can go. Like, I go on a trip with, how could I do that, right? So if it was that kind of lack of independence. Say what? Yeah, I know.
Who would have done that?
yeah, exactly. So if it's that, would you guys still say the same answer?
No. I mean,
Okay.
nobody wants
no.
a needy person. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a negative.
Well,
for me.
you don't want that. Like, you can't say that nobody wants it.
Well, yeah, you know what I'm saying. For me, it's unhealthy. That's my perspective. And you can't flourish in a relationship if one of your partners is unhealthy.
For me, that's no. I don't want that.
nope.
This is setup. I want y'all to know that. I feel it.
I'm not. I'm gonna go down the list. There's no setup. Like, you're the one that does the setup stuff. I'm just a facilitator of the conversation. Yeah. And I wanted to get some clarification. That way we could actually say, okay, boom. All right. So, okay, here's one. So same situation. Would you rather have a relationship where you could actually have fun with your significant other, or you couldn't really have fun, but you got a lot of stuff accomplished?
It's fun for me.
Give me fun.
Yeah, that's easy as fun.
Dude, I'm getting things accomplished. You guys by yourselves on that, man. I'm getting stuff knocked out with my lady, and I'm having fun with you guys. That's what I'm doing. We have a question. Fire, you want to read this question? Let me see here.
Saren. This is from Saren coming through with some Facebook platform. She says, but wouldn't a supportive woman support you to thrive on your own, thereby giving you freedom to go on these trips? Possibly. I think Waters' question was a forced answer. So his question was prefaced that way to force us into an either or sort of a binary decision. But in theory, yes, a supportive woman should support you in all that you do. But I think underneath Waters' question is, I can speak from experience and what I've observed. A lot of times, the clingy woman, and I'm using the word clingy intentionally. The woman who her identity is her husband, is her spouse. She outside of the roles that she plays in the. I'm not saying that those roles in the house are to be diminished, because those are real jobs that I would not want. I'd rather go out and hunt and kill every day than to run a house. Underneath that is sometimes there's a little bit of a clinginess where you know, it's like Elmira, if you used to watch Tiny Toons back in the day, or what's the little Pepe Le Pew, little skunk or whatever, cat chasing the, like it's too much. It's too much. So I think contextually, when you have that type of energy from your woman, no, she's not going to be supportive with you leaving the home without her, going to go hang out with the broskies. And those are the guys who speak, who are married, who speak about marriage in the vernacular of it being a ball and chain. And they speak about their wives in the vernacular of them being annoying and nags. There's a lot of guys out there like that.
Yeah, I actually don't think that you could be supportive if you're actually needy and clingy, because it's an unhealthy relationship. It's not necessarily supportive. I don't think that you really could be, you know.
Hey, I laughed initially because when Fire was speaking, it just reminded me of this guy I used to work with. His ringtone was the theme song for Darth Vader. Every time his wife called it,
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
I'm not gonna, and there's a comment we're gonna skim over one of those comments right there, because that looks like a can of worms waiting to be opened right there.
That's an easy one. Go ahead, pull it to the table. Let's do it.
Oh my God,
It's gonna be good. I promise.
let's do it.
Yeah, here's a comment. Where have you experienced this, sir? This comment comes from some lady named Courtney Butler, friend of the show from Facebook.
Some anonymous lady.
Some anonymous lady. So look, I'm gonna answer the question honestly, right? So first and foremost, I've experienced this I'm not out with none of my brothers, none of them, but I have several brothers who had this perspective, and we talked about it, and we talked about where it came from. So everything I broke down comes from a particular conversation. Now, with regards to yourself, or no, let me say my situation. Regarding my situation, there's been times, guys, where my wife, right, because we're so close, like we're the ones that would rather have fun together than to get a lot of stuff done. Water, like my wife is my best friend. When I would travel for business, this is a true story. I would travel for business, and my wife on cue would get sick out of nowhere. She would only get sick within, I'm gonna say, 4 to 6 hours of me leaving. 8 hours max. So if I had a flight in the morning, and it was like this bodily sensation when my presence was leaving the house. True story. And this happened for years. And I got to a point where I started feeling like, what's going on? Like, and this is around the time where she was at home nursing our newborn, our newborn. So, right. So she wasn't outside of the home. Her life was the family, domestic duties, me, etc. And in that space, that's when she got sick. She started working. We moved to Tampa. Baby started working. Guess what? I could jump on a plane, go anywhere, and nothing. No emergency visit, no emergency room visits, no reason for me to cancel my flight. All of a sudden, that having an identity of her own, that independence, cured her of all infirmities. So when Water asked the question, choose, I'm like, dang, bro, because I know what having a supportive wife can turn into. And the antidote for that way of being was her own career, her own businesses. So yes, that's where those are my experiences. Mrs. Butler, I think her name was.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's her name. So So then how important is it for you guys to feel supported in your relationship? Like in what you want to do with your life? Anybody besides Fire? Like Fire, mute yourself, dude. Like Wind, Earth. We want to hear from you guys. How important is it for you two to feel supported?
I mean, it's very important, and I get in having someone to support you. It for me, I make it personal. It may look different than somebody else because support comes in different packages based upon what someone has going on in their lives. So it's yes, support is very important. Based upon only support that is in alignment with my lifestyle, but not some other support that's just because sometimes I've been in relationships where the woman thinks that she's supporting me, and no, it's not happening at all. But in their minds, they think they are. Even sometimes I could say, well, actually, babe, can you do this? Can you do that? And it's just, I don't know. It's just something just doesn't quite get across at all. And they'll do what they may think support is based upon said definition, whatever that is for them. So yeah, that's my answer.
Yeah, support is critical. I mean, just like I spoke earlier, a woman has to have a spirit of collaboration for things to work and operate and function properly. That's critical for most men, to be honest.
Fire.
When you talk
Quickly, the show is winding down, so
you taking my airtime. What Therese said is support around purpose. If you're not supporting me around my purpose, I don't receive it as support. So if it's not present, then we have no relationship whatsoever. I don't want it.
Yeah, you're not useful.
Right. It's suitable. Help me. Not so suitable. What are we doing? The SEX isn't enough.
No.
Trophy on the arm.
okay. Okay. So yeah, I agree with you three. Like support is huge. So then an either or for you guys, would you rather have, and again, don't give me that they're the same because they are different. And at least I view them different. Support or respect?
Oh, respect. Absolutely, positively, no doubt about that. Respect.
Wind.
Yeah, it's respect. I mean, with respect comes support. So it come with it.
There he goes. Fire.
Same.
Okay. So is that question? Okay, wait, hold on. What if it's not? What if for whatever reason and however it showed up for you that she didn't respect you, or she did respect you, but she wasn't supportive, right? I mean, she respected you, but she just wasn't supportive of what you wanted to do. Still the same answer?
I would have to say, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Wind. Fire.
I don't know if that's possible, but I would say yes, that's the same answer. Respect. Respect above everything. Because, if I'm out working, I have a particular objective, I can get other people to support that objective. But you have to have respect in your house.
Agreed. I'm agreeable. When I think about the support part being absent, like I can get my mom is my biggest fan. Like I can get support from mom and be single. You know what I mean? So I gotta go with the respect, bro.
Yeah, and I'm in unison with you guys. Respect for sure, and I think that it's important for women to hear this, right? Because what I tried to do is I tried to box you guys in, and thank you. guys, for putting up with me and allowing me to do that, because I know it's like, bro, that ain't happening. That scenario is not going to come up. However, we're dudes, right? And so we think of some word and it means something to us. However, we're speaking to women, and maybe to them it means something else. And maybe like we always say, maybe this could help one person. And she's like, oh my God, I finally get the problem in my relationship. So hopefully it does. With that being said, we have 5 minutes, guys. 5 minutes. Who wants to
So this
give us something to go out on?
Danny, I like this comment. This Danny's response is actually very interesting.
The last one?
She has a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah, my bad. The last one. This is very interesting.
I'm glad you brought it, because I didn't want that to go unchecked.
Wait, what is the comment?
Let me see. I'll pop it up there.
This is starting to sound like using them, though. And she said that around the time we were talking about, we were answering the questions with regards to how we view women and what we want from our women: respect, support, etc., etc. I think be mindful for the elementals and Danny that we're speaking from a male perspective. I could speak for the collective and say that what we require or what we desire of women, we have this like I feel like my purpose doesn't trump my wife's purpose. Like, my purpose is to help her fulfill her purpose, and she'll tell you I say that to her all the time. So it's not a one-way street. It's just that we're guys and we're speaking from our male perspective without putting ourselves in the shoes of a woman. And there's no women on this panel. So I just wanted to say that it's not like we're king sort of dictatorial relationship where I sit on the throne barking orders. My wife well enough to know that will never happen. So that's not what we meant at all. Earth, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, if we were a panel of women answering the same questions, it would sound, you can make the same argument. Right. Everybody requires something from their mate. There's not one person who doesn't require anything, period. Because we're in each other's lives to be a contribution, and however that contribution looks. So it's not about using someone or nothing or anything like that. It's like, I have certain requirements, certain things I like, and I'm sure that any woman, any other element of females, they have requirements also. So you can call it using, whatever you want to call it. It'll still sound the same if a woman would speak.
Yeah, all relationships are an exchange, right? So if you're not useful, you're not going to be around useful people. And that's really the bottom line. I mean, all of us are exchanging energies. I mean, Danny wouldn't want somebody that didn't have swag, that wasn't handsome, and didn't bring home the bag and take care of home.
You got to get to know Danny, because ugly broke dudes is her twist. That's what she goes for.
Anyway, these guys. So with 1 minute left, okay, we wanna clown around at 1 minute left. So I'm gonna close by saying thank you all, three of you, for dealing with me and my my little snafus that I put you through or whatnot. And thank you, elementals. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for the engagement in the comments. And this was, like they're saying, this was just to give you a men's perspective. Like, we're men. We don't know how women think, and hopefully this can help women understand how men think, or at least how us four think about this, because there are going to be other men who think differently. And with that being said, who's up next?
Earthster.
Earth,
I thought
you got
I just
next,
went.
buddy.
Oh man. Next, I don't have a topic. So I'm gonna do a win.
Okay.
I do not have a topic yet.
Well, Fire should go with his parting comments.
So I'll have one.
My part comments.
Go.
Are we doing part comments again? Thought we did that.
No. What are you talking about, Win? Like, the show is over. Hit the end button, man. What are y'all doing, dude? Like
Right.
we're ending on tonight, guys. Like, guys, you got to get the time thing down. Like, so let's do that for once.
It's all right.
Let's give these people their nights back. It's already 10. It's already 10 p.m. Eastern. You know, you guys are further going, you know, the other way, and it's earlier your time or whatnot. But yeah, let's end on time. And thank you everyone for tuning in, and tune in for Earth's wonderful show about we don't know yet next week.
Peace.
Peace, everybody.
Next week, latest.